CG Adventurer ค่ะโทษทีหายไปนานเลยนะคะแต่ว่าวันนี้เอพิโซดของเราไม่ธรรมดาค่ะเพราะเรามีแขกรับเชิญพิเศษมากเพราะว่าแขกรับเชิญคนนี้คุณ Laura Trouche นะคะได้ทำงานบริษัทดังๆระดับโลกมาหลายบริษัทมากนะคะและที่สำคัญเขาเป็นเพื่อนของตะวันด้วยค่ะแต่ว่าวันนี้ตะวันไปไหนนะทำไมพี่นิชายืนอยู่คนเดียวเหงาก็คือตะวันน่ะกลับไปที่มอนทรีออลแล้วนะคะแล้วตอนนี้นิชาก็อยู่ที่แวนคูเวอร์คนเดียวยืนอยู่คนเดียวพูดคนเดียวเหงาอย่างนี้ไปก่อนนะคะหวังว่าวันหนึ่งนิชากับตะวันก็จะได้มาเจอกันนะคะแต่ว่าวันนี้ขอให้เพื่อนๆได้ดูเอพิโซดของเรานะคะรับรองว่าเนื้อหาแน่นมากถ้าใครยังไม่รู้ว่างานริกเกอร์หรืองานริกกิ้งเนี่ยในส่วนของแอนิเมชันเนี่ยมีความสำคัญยังไงวันนี้คุณ Laura Trouche ก็จะมาเล่าเรื่องการเป็นแอนิเมเตอร์ของเขาและการผันตัวมาเป็นริกเกอร์ของเขานะคะขอเชิญติดตามเลยได้ค่ะ
ก็อย่างที่ตะวันเกริ่นวันนี้นะคะวันนี้เรามีแขกรับเชิญพิเศษมากๆเลยค่ะยินดีต้อนรับ Welcome Laura Trouche
Thank you right? Yes It's alright no worries
Tell me how to pronounce your name properly
Okay in French we say Laura Trouche but it's quite hard to pronounce with the R so I don't no matter the pronunciation I'm fine
we're gonna go with Thai accent Laura ค่ะ Laura Okay First of all thank you so much for joining us today it was an honor we are such a small YouTube channel but we're doing this for a young generation for a student to learn more about another department every department in industry okay let's get started
okay let's do it so I'm Laura I'm a CD character for Disney at the moment for Vancouver so I'm living in Vancouver it's been about a year and a half I've been living in Vancouver I moved in Vancouver to join Sony Picture where we met and we worked together and about a year after coming to Vancouver, I received a job offer from Disney and I just joined them. I studied animation in an animation school back in France. It was a 5 years program where we learn about everything about the animation job, so every department. During that school, I specialized in animation. I was supposed to become an animator, but we had an initiation to rigging and I quite enjoyed it. Because we didn't have that much class, I had to learn by myself, I had to contact some professionals, so I learned mostly online or with professionals' help online. You have a lot of tutorials online, you can easily learn about it. I wanted to become a rigger. My first job was in London in Passion Picture. It was a month job for a commercial. Directly after, I got hired to go back to France in Paris for Illumination MacGuff, so where I worked there 6 or 7 months as a rigger as well. This is during those first jobs that I learned a lot about being good enough for the professional world. After Illumination MacGuff, I went to UK again in London to join DNEG for the opening their feature animation department. I stayed there 2 years and a half. There on the project Ron's Gone Wrong. After that, the pandemic started. I worked as a freelancer from London for Animal Logic in Vancouver and then switched to Sony for a year, now at Disney. Basically, in our job in the industry, you guys all know it's all about like switching job, moving and abroad.
Traveling the world.
Yeah, exactly. At the beginning, I think we're all very happy to move, and when we start getting older and having families, it gets a bit more difficult. But I will say when it gets there.
You talk about a school and you said that even though you go to a school in France, you still need to work online by yourself.
So at the time where I studied animation and rigging was still a job a bit like obscure. No one knew exactly what that was at school. A few professional camps to explain what is rigging, what is Python, but very like basic knowledge. But I think nowadays you have some schools opening a bit everywhere, learning rigging especially. So I think now it's quite easy to get knowledge in rigging. It can be like a normal school, online school. I know you also have a lot of professionals doing like online classes like for like about a semester or something, specialized in rigging. So yeah.
Can you like if someone that don't have like a money to access it, like do you have any recommend website that we can get the knowledge for free?
So the theory of rigging is always the same. It has been the same for the last 20 years. So you have some papers from the old riggers back in the day when they created the first technology that are still valid, is still working. The base of rigging, maybe I'm gonna explain what's rigging after.
Yes.
Should I explain now? Or? So the base of rigging is mostly based on like mathematics, trigonometry, and coding. So this thing is like never getting old. It's always working the same. So you can learn, you can read those papers. You have a lot of YouTube videos as well, but mostly the knowledge is on some like blog, old blogs from old riggers. I can send you most of the link if you want to add them in the description of your video. And
okay, that would be cool. That would be lovely.
So rigger, basically, it's about allowing animators to animate quickly and efficiently their characters. So the way we're doing that is actually, so we are setting skeletons inside a 3D character. So setting like the range of motion, the skeletons, defining the elasticity of the skin, the volume of the muscle. We are sometimes sculpting facial expression, defining the range of motion of like the movement for the body or for the face expression. So you have two kind of riggers in the world right now and two different profiles that the companies both need. Technical riggers, they're most gonna focus on tool developing, creating new modules, new part of the rig. A lot of math apply, like trigonometry. They have to be very clever with that. Every company needs this kind of rigger because they are creating the pipeline of rigging. They are super important. After you have the artistic riggers, we are gonna focus on assets. So we are gonna really, like what I said, setting the skeleton. It's a lot of anatomy, a lot of eyes for the details. Working with the animators to make a good job, nice job, focus on like making the silhouette works and whatever. This kind of job is extremely important. It's rare to find this kind of rigger. It's so precise a job that only 30% of the company are gonna looking for that, and usually it's the biggest company, and then in animation companies. Most of the time it's gonna be the technical riggers.
I see. That's a lot to take in as well.
Sorry.
When I talk with a rigger, I feel like I'm a dinosaur myself.
I think the basic knowledge is you need to understand anatomy. Place the correct bones at the right place, understand the muscle and how they move. I think that's the most important. After, you need to have a basic knowledge in math, but a really basic as a junior. Now I think you're supposed to know Python when you become a junior. After, I will say one important thing about rigging that a lot of riggers don't have, and it's very important, is to have a basic knowledge in modeling and in animation. We are working with modeling, like we are taking the assets from modeling and we need to check what we are given by them. So this is good to be good at any modeling, as well as if we need to do shapes and sculpt some facial expression, you need to have basic knowledge. And we need to understand animation because we're working with them. We're working for animators, so animators gonna speak a language to us and we need to understand what they want. They're gonna ask you something and you need to interpret it and say, okay, how is the best way I can give what they ask, staying within the budget, within the deadline, and giving the best result possible. So yeah, mostly about that. There is 100 ways of doing a rig. There's no like one simple way that you follow, and that's why it's complicated. You have 100 of different way possible, and you need to calculate which one is the best way considering the budget, the design of the character, the pipeline, the tool you have at your disposition, the timeline, what animators are requesting, and yes, it's a lot of variable to take into consideration to know which way to go.
To become a rigger, do you have to have a little bit of artistic side?
So yes, if you're technical riggers, it's good to have a basic knowledge, but definitely for the creative riggers, you need a lot of artistic side. If you draw is better because you need to understand main silhouettes. The goal is to give something very clean for animators to work on. So it's about decomposing the body in simple shapes and deformation. So yes, we do need a lot of artistic backgrounds for the artistic rigors. You need to know modeling, you need to know animation. You might need to know a bit of surfacing, understanding the UVs and all that. But yeah. Okay. In our industry, people say that the rigors are a bit like the joker cards of the pipeline, and it's a bit true because we need to work with many different departments that we need to understand their job, the input output they're giving us, because it can be as simple as that. When we're rigging something, let's say we are rigging the brows, so we are sculpting the deformation of the brows when the character is scared or worried, the brows going up. But if we move too much of the skin around the ears, it's gonna affect the hair simulation team because we're moving what they use to create the hair, so it might make the hair explode in their scene. We are working with the cloth simulation as well, because if we're creating, let's say I'm like bending my elbow, and if we're creating creases here, it might catch the cloth and it might explode in their scene as well. So we need to be careful about that. We need to be careful about animation and so on.
Yeah. You also mentioned that you have to understand about the muscle. What I understand right now is we have another department to simulate the muscle, or as a rigger, you also still need to know about that? So
some companies, mostly in VFX, they have a simulation department to simulate the muscle. The way they simulate the muscle is actually to make sure when you're moving the character that the muscle are wobbling. What I know, it's mostly in VFX. I don't know a lot of animation studio using that for like very extreme big characters that they need to avoid penetration. When I say deform the muscle, is like, for example, when we are bending the elbow to make sure that actually you have this muscle getting bigger and the biceps getting bigger, and we're working with that, so sculpting. So some shows, if we have the budget and the money, we're gonna work more in detail in the shape, and we might have to sculpt on top of our rig to trigger some extra volume. When we move our arm forward, it's bringing the pectoral area with it. In rigging, basic deformation is very hard to achieve this kind of motion, so we're adding a pass of sculpted corrective on top. So when animation gonna move the arm forward, it knows it had to trigger that specific sculpt, and it's like bringing the whole pectoral together. According to different studios, so some studios decide to go further and to have this pass of sculpting shape everywhere on the body, on the face, if they have the money and the time for that. Most of the studios, they're gonna do half-half. They're gonna do the corrective shapes, the sculpt on top, only when it's really needed and they get to like a critical position though. It's not working on the camera. We are working hard to make work of other people go easier and faster. This is our main goal. Like, I think if everyone has to remember something about rigging is we need to make animators' job faster, quicker, and easier. This is the main goal of rigging.
Yeah. Somebody give a trophy to her. Such a good job. Thank you so much. Yes. What is your inspiration to be a rigger, like, in the first place?
Yeah, I'm a problem solver, so for me, I don't like having a challenge and not being able to resolve it. So I think that's how I started. It's really not understanding why the software was behaving one way and like going deep into it. I like also, I'm very sensitive to anatomy and motion. So for me, it was very interesting to set the anatomy of a character and to really allow the best range of motion and to feel like the character coming to life. That's really what pushed me into rigging. And I like also to be part of a team. Rigging is like really working in a team together and working for other people, and I really like to make the job easier for the people. I created some very good connection with some animators because we work closely together and give them a good rig and seeing them going faster. And when we give our rig to an animator and we see the animator make our character jump, cry, run, and whatever, it's incredible. It's really incredible to see. So yeah. For the programs, we're mostly gonna use Maya. The industry is mostly on Maya, at least for feature animation and VFX. I know that a lot of commercial and video games, they might go for 3ds Max or Blender. Most of the time it's Maya, and sometimes for the biggest studio like Pixar or DreamWorks, they have their own program that they created them. You need Python. Python is a language that we use everywhere. I know lighters might use it in their software as well. Some riggers might need to learn C++ to create their own plugin. They are like riggers already closer to developing tool, but so some technical riggers, they're so technical that they go full developers. C++, sometimes like artificial intelligence, machine learning, or this kind of thing. But this is really the extreme technical one, and most of the time they're more like in the R&D department developing tool.
Develop myself as a student, or like to have my show reel.
So basic is Maya. Go for Maya, learn to rig on Maya, learn Python on the side. So Maya has an interface, like a script interface, where you can directly use Python inside Maya and see directly the effects it has on Maya. If you're interested in rigging, I'm sure you already know it, but the way Maya is working is no matter where you click on Maya, you have the exact transcription of what you're doing in Mail, which is another code language, on the script editor, so you can directly see and recreate it with Python. Well, I mean,
I see.
That's already very deep, but I mean, it's the basic tutorial everywhere. So.
Okay. Any pressure when you work on this industry, like anything, struggling moments or any hard time that you want to share? To the audience?
I'm myself working for the feature animation project that lasts between 1 year and 2 years and a half. So we're gonna have time. It's very rare I'm doing overtime. The only pressure I can have is like when the director is expecting animation to show something, but the rig is not ready. So animators might ask me, okay, can you make it work for like next week? And this is like big crunch time for like a week or something, but just to be able to give animation what they need. I know in VFX is different. They're doing a lot of overtime. The project they're working on is very short. Sometimes it's like 3 to 6 months. For them, it's way more scary and stressful because sometimes they have no idea how to make it work, but they have to. Globally, in the rigging, when I'm speaking with most of my colleagues, the hardest thing is like we have a mountain of knowledge to have. A lifetime is not enough to learn everything. So we're always seeing what needs to be learned, and every year you have new technology, new system coming out, release new softwares that we need to learn about how it's working. And so I think it's about like how to maintain a life and work balance properly, because I know when I started rigging, I was spending my day rigging at work and then my evening learning about rigging, learning about math, learning about the new technologies and watching tutorials, and it's very quickly to just go like full burnout. So keep learning on your free time, but it's alright if you don't know everything. It's perfectly okay.
It was a lot of things to take on. Yeah. Okay. Now I just want to know, like, to being rigger, I believe that you already mentioned that, but let me ask you again. What kind of mindset you wanted to tell a student or a person who wanted to be a rigger?
I think you need to be a problem solver. Most of our job is going to be fix problem, find the right way to work. You should not be afraid about that. You need to go full inside the problem. Go technical as well, because most of the time you're going to be required to have technical knowledge. As we said before, you need to be curious about the pipeline, to know the other departments, to know how they work, what they're using. It's very important. Have an eye for the details. You need to quickly understand if something is not working properly. Rigging is not a place for ego, because we need to work so closely together as a team, as a rigger, and with other departments. There's no place for ego. It's just about make it work no matter what, and being social with each other, because it makes the experience so much more better. So the rigging workflow, the way we're working, so first, when you're working on assets, we receive the character from modeling. First, you're doing a first check of the model. You're checking if all the edge flow are proper and is everything gonna be all right. Once you're more or less happy, you're gonna start putting your skeleton inside the character and skinning. Skinning is the process of affecting the skin to the right bones. When you're bending your arms, this part of the skin is gonna move with that bones and not another one. During this process of like setting the skeleton, skinning, you're already gonna be aware if there's an issue with the model. So you might already have to do back and forth with modeling, saying, I told you it was okay, but unfortunately maybe not. Can you add more? And When we finish this skinning process, according to the budget and the kind of project you're working on, you might have to do a pass of sculpting on top, the way we mentioned. So when you move like special difficult area or for the face, you might have to sculpt on top to make sure it's clean and nice and creating a nice silhouette for animation. Once all that is done, we push to animation test it, send it back, we update some typical thing, we push it back, animation is happy with it, they animate 3-4 shots and then they understand, okay, it's not gonna work, we need something else, and then we change again and so on and so on. I've done some movies where I was working with animation for a year like that, and just going back and forth, and sometimes it's not just animation, it's animation happy with the rig and director saying, oh actually no, I changed my mind. Yeah, the whole pipeline, the whole department, we all like working together and all sending back. No, you always have 3 or 4 riggers that stay on the project until the end, because until the end you can have issue. Some riggers are required to do short sculpt after animation. Yeah. You might have to go back to the scene and sculpt those areas just to make it look like correct. There's the movie I can speak about and the movie I can't, but for the movie I can. The first movie I worked on was Life of Pets 2 with, for Elimination McGuff. It's an animalogic for super pets. It's the feature film for Netflix that I worked with Sony. The Moana Plus project for Disney Plus. Ron's Gone Wrong. That was an incredible project. It was the first feature animation from DNX, so we had to recreate the whole pipeline together. And that was intense. Like we literally had to recreate all the tools, the different parts of the rig. The rig are usually separated in different parts. So you have the arms, torso, so the legs. Create that, it's called modules. So we had to recreate all those modules to make it work. I was myself working directly with the character designer. And each character was also, anatomically speaking, a challenge because they were all different. The kids were globally anatomically correct, but then we had the grandma character, which is quite fat, and she was very challenging because we need to make sure that there is no penetration, that it's holding together. The character with very long neck and no clear separation between the face and the necks, knowing that the jaw was actually opening along the neck. So that's also anatomically never gonna happen in real life, but this is something we need to make happen because character design ask for it. And this was also a crazy challenge for me and for animation. I think they might have hated me at some point, but we make it work, yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. The important questions, like when you work throughout your career, how to or what to do to be a better version in your career, you know?
I think it's all about maybe learning on your free time, a bit more math if you're not sure about your knowledge, new technology online, new anatomy. For now I'm spending a lot of time drawing anatomical, like working on like muscles because I need to push further. Learning sculpting is also important. Python as well, I'm supposed to do that. I'm not doing, but it's fine. And so yeah, I think it's keep learning on your side. It might make you easier to work with, but this is not gonna make sure you find job. I think for finding job in rigging, so the first showreel is very important. Yeah. But once you moved on in the industry, the showreel is not that important. It's the people you work with, the company you work with. Rigging is, unfortunately, mostly about contacts. It's about meeting the right people at the right time, and if someone enjoy working with you, because we are small teams usually, we never more than 30 people. So if someone enjoy working with you and give good review, this is how you find another job. How to find a job at the first place. You don't know anyone, you don't have contacts, so how to make it happen. I think it's very important in your showreel. Biped anatomy, biped deformation, animals as well, quadrupeds, yeah, like cats or dogs, they are complicated to rig, or birds. Good luck with the birds, but if you have some birds and wings prototypes, even if it's not working perfectly, just like if you worked hard on understanding how to make it easy for animation to use and show it in your showreel, it's gonna be perfect. You can also have tools, having one showreel for the asset side and module developing, prototyping the rigs, and one showreel for the tools developing. If you have both of them, it's already a lot. And another important part's gonna be the interview. This is how they decide, are you a good someone and are you gonna mix in the team very well, because it's important to be good in a team, and this is how they're gonna judge, are you gonna fit in or not. So I think it's very important, be yourself during, again, the cliche answer, but it's true, social, curious about other jobs. Just show them you're ready to learn and you can do a good job and you're happy to learn with a team, and they're gonna be happy with that.
Okay. Last question. I just want you to give us a speech, like to the audience.
Don't give up. If you're interested in rigging, go for it. Right now, the industry is like really looking for riggers. The industry is blooming. Work hard on it. Go for it. You can learn online. You can easily find all the information to learn online. Really, don't give up, and it's gonna be alright.
Yay. Very inspiring. Thank you so much.
I know I use a lot of very technical words and that might overwhelm some people, but it's alright. It's not that complicated, and I hope I managed to share my passion and motivate people. Now the most important is the team you're working on. When you're working with nice people, it's so much fun. I mean, you really have a nice time. So this is how I met you. Proof. So I think.
For today, right on the lunchtime, we make a good time. Yeah, thank you so much for Laura's and also Denise as well, who rent me all of the professional, equipment, microphone and cameras and stuff. And thanks for the location of you guys. Okay, so for today, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll see you next time. Bye.